Greetings of peace to everyone, and we wish everyone a happy new year, a promising new year. And in behalf of BNC, we wish to welcome you to our first webinar for the year 2021, with the hope that it would be a promising year no matter what. We wish to acknowledge the presence of those who are with us through the YouTube. We also want to acknowledge the presence of our brothers and sisters in the Zoom group with the Arabic translation and with Dr. Salva doing the translation tonight. We always say Happy New Year whenever we go into another year. And every year, we know that it will always bring newness. But the question is this being sustained throughout the year to bring magic and wonder in our lives and the lives of others? So tonight, we are so fortunate to have Brother Prakash Chaguni, to make this evening pave way to a meaningful year. For most of you, I suppose you know, and there's no need to introduce Prakash, but purposes of those who, the background of our brother. He has been a frequent speaker for several years in Bahrain, thus making Bahrain as his another home. And we always welcome him around whenever it is possible. Prakash has a way of living a kind of feeling of being inspired in whatever interaction that we have with him, be it seminar, be it just an ordinary conversation. So he would always have the speciality of leaving somebody with that kind of inspiration. And I love the way he would always say, fantastic, verbally or non-verbally. This is the way, yeah, this is the way he would leave a note of feeling so much inspired. So, Brother Prakash, so that's really something that we get to remember about you. Yeah, fantastic. It's fantastic to have you tonight.
It's fantastic to be here.
It's fantastic. I like the word, really. No? As a keen explorer of human behavior, he always would find a way to create newness, considering that he is always a student in this university of life. That is, as a student, learning is constant, and life would always provide an abundant opportunity to learn. And Brother Prakash says he would always learn from himself, he would always learn from others, and definitely he would always learn from situations. Prakash believes that as you learn, you also have to unlearn. You have to let go. So in that case, there would be newness. And perhaps this is where, for us, the magic begins. For whatever newness that Brother Prakash would inspire us to make, Brother Prakash. So, without much ado, welcome, brother, and thank you for being with us to create the magic tonight. And by the way, so before I give the floor to brother, there would be activity that he's going to make us do. So please, very quickly, if you don't have pen and paper, please get one yourself, because this would be part of the activity that he's going to do with us. So thank you for being with us and for you to share again a lot of insights, I suppose. So take it away, brother.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sister Vicky, for that ever so lovely introduction, which you always do. And it's always a pleasure to be back in Bahrain, physically, personally, or even virtually. And the good part about being virtual is that we can also have other parts of the world connect with us, whether it's UAE or it's Oman or any other place, even India. So it's such an honor to always be back. And the aspect of learning, I feel, is one of the most important aspects of life. I look at myself as a work in progress, and even me participating in programs like this is testimony to the fact that I am learning, I constantly to learn, and I'm not here to teach or to preach, but my main role over here is to learn, to practice, to implement. And I think while I'm sharing with everybody today, the first person I'm sharing with and the first person who's learning is me, myself, and I. And so I really look at myself with this particular perspective every time, and I try to, as much as possible, implement what I'm trying to share with others. So, with that note, let me share a beautiful, magical story of this very old man who was blind, and with a lot of penance, he was able to please a magician. And this magician told him, I'm pleased with everything that you've done, and I'll grant you one wish. Anything you wish for, ask me, it shall be granted. And so he says, can I have a day's time? Because I like to ask my family members, because you gave me only one thing to ask for. He says, yeah, no problem. Go and talk to your family. Whatever you want will come true, anything, but it has to be only one thing. So he goes home and he asks his family members, so I have this opportunity to get one wish fulfilled. What should I ask for? And his wife has something to say. She says, you know what? We are very poor. Ask for money, ask for some riches. His son says, you know what? I don't have a child from a long time. So ask for a grandchild. And his daughter in law has something else to ask for. She says, well, I think it's great that you get your eyes, but it's also good that, sorry, you've not been able to see for long. You've been blind for a long time now. Why don't you ask for your eyesight back? So different people giving him different ideas, and now he's a little bit in a quandary because he can ask only for one thing. Anyway, he goes back to this magician the next day, and he says, I have that one wish that I want to ask you. He says, yes, go ahead and ask me for that one wish. He says, I like to see my grandson eating his meals on a golden plate. One single wish. But smart enough, because of that wish that he asked for, if he had to see his grandson, he had to have his eyes back. And if he has to see his grandson, it means that his son should have a child. Only then he would have a grandchild. And if his grandchild was to be eating on a plate that's made out of gold, they had to have the riches enough to be able to afford that. And so, with that one single wish, all his wishes came true. So, he got his eyesight back, he had a grandchild, and he could see him eating on a plate of gold because he had enough of wealth to be able to buy such a plate. So, do we have to our disposal such a magic wand that can grant us all our wishes? What is it that can do that justice for us? And the answer to that is yes, lo and behold, that magic wand is what we're going to discover today. And we all have that in our possession. And the beautiful and most brilliant part of it is that it starts with the new beginnings. That's why we have new beginnings, in fact. Why is it that we have new beginnings? Why is it that out of all the days in the world, on the 1st of January every year, we go to people and say, I'd like to wish you a happy, prosperous, and peaceful new year. I like to wish that all the dreams of yours comes true. I like to wish you this. I like to wish you that. I like to wish you that. And those wishes come from deep within our hearts, and with a lot of belief that that's going to happen. So it's not that those wishes did not exist before, but there's something about new beginnings that is unique, that's special, that's magical, which is why we actually have it there. And that's a fact. What is it that new beginnings bring with them that makes them so special and so unique? There are three gifts that new beginnings bring. And here are those three gifts. Every new beginning brings opportunity, it brings energy, and it brings the gift of possibility. Now, this beginning could also be a new year. It could be a happy birthday. So it's also a new start for you. So you completed a year, you're starting another year. So that's why they say happy birthday, and we wish you many, many more returns of this day, happiness and peace and love and wisdom. It could also be a festival when we actually are able to sit back and think about the greatness that this festival brings. It could be a start of a season like Ramadan. It might be Eid. It might be Diwali. It could be Christmas. Whatever the case may be, when there is a new beginning of sorts, it could be the new start of a year, it could be a certain freshness, a newness, for a change from something that was before. Now, it opens up opportunities for everybody. I can do so many things now. There is energy, there's so much of zeal, so much of enthusiasm. Now, we can just waste that zeal and enthusiasm by just partying and then forgetting about it. Or we can still party, which is not a bad idea at all. But we are able to see that there's a reason for that zeal and enthusiasm. And there's an energy that's there in that particular time that can be channelized for amazing possibilities. They say that when you are happy and when you are having the wings of zeal and enthusiasm, the sky is the limit, which means that you can go to any place you want. That's the amount of possibilities that are available when there's real zeal and enthusiasm infused in your heart. New beginnings magically bring these aspects. There's opportunity, there's energy, there's possibility. That's why there's magic. Because with these three things, anything, anything is possible. But there's a certain way in which we need to do that. There's a certain methodology that we have to follow. There is something that we must take care of and heed of whilst doing this so that the magic unfolds. And so, what's the first thing we need to do? Well, before I get into the first thing, I want to ask you a question. And I hope you have something to write on. Like Sister Vicky said, please have a pen, a piece of paper with you. That's going to support us in our journey forward. This is a workshop. It's not just a talk. I'm not just going to stand here and inspire you and then leave you high and dry and thinking, wow, good stuff, but really, I wish there was something more that I could do. So this is going to be a very active session where I'm going to leave you with some very beautiful things by the end of it. And I'm going to make it as much as possible a change from when you start the session to the time you end it. All right. So pen and paper, please, and active interaction. So I want to hear from you. If you, for some reason, want to keep your cameras turned off, perfectly okay. I respect your privacy. But at least if that's the case, and if you can type in the chat box as we are interacting with it, that would be great. So, question: are you ready to reveal your own magic right now? If you are, I just want you to say yes. A double thumbs up if you're having a video on, or a YES on your chat box. So I know that we are all together, and together we're going to take this beautiful journey in the next 50 minutes. Okay, fantastic. So yes, we're all enthused about it. We are all ready for it. That's it. Well done. Thank you. Okay, so we are ready for the magic. So we're going to go all steam, full power into that magic right now. Now, it's so important that when we start something, initially there may be a lot of inertia. But just like this engine that you see here, which is pulling a lot of coaches, if it were just starting its journey, and if there was something that was put in front of its, let's say, wheels, a huge log and a massive stone, it slows down. It's not able to move. It's not able to start even. But if it was catching full steam and it was running at its highest speed, then even if you had to put a concrete stone, which was really thick, in front of this particular engine, it will smash through it and will continue its journey undeterred. Nothing can stop it once it has picked up speed. And so for us as well, we've got to see how we can actually keep this energy full speed, amazingly high, so that we can move into this direction. And we're talking about 2021 as a new beginning. And I'm sure we're all looking forward to a beautiful, bright 2021. But it's very important for us to first sort out 2020 for ourselves. And there's this beautiful saying that we've got to put the past behind us, but we must carry the lessons with us. So we don't want to carry the past, but we want to carry the lessons of the past. And so the start of our journey towards a new beginning, and before we unfold that magic for us, let's take stock of 2020, a very important part for us. So our first exercise, sorry, I want to just show you, there are a few questions I want to ask you, and I want you to reflect on this, and I'd like you to write something. If you can possibly just put a few pointers here. It's reflection time for us. The first question: what were the positive things about 2020? There was so much that happened in 2020. And many a times it was more tough than and challenging than the good stuff. But we are looking at the magic to unfold. And that starts from starting to understand what were the positive things about 2020. So without typing anything, without sharing anything with me, I want you to just reflect for a moment for your own life. This is all personal stuff. What were the positive things about 2020 for you? We're going to take about 20 seconds to reflect. All right. If you can write a word or two on a piece of paper, that will be great. The question that follows that is, what were my greatest lessons? What were my greatest lessons in 2020? From whatever happened in 2020, what have been my greatest lessons? Great. My last question. So if you got your greatest lessons, put a few pointers on a piece of paper. The last question. What has strengthened in me through the year in 2020? What has really strengthened inside of me? I've learned a lot of things. There have been a lot of things that have taken place. That has definitely been a strengthening inside. Some virtue, some value, some powers. What has strengthened in you? Okay, thank you. Okay, beautiful. Um, why is it important for us to take stock of 2020 in this fashion? As I said, because it's very important. As we move forward, what is only going to pull you back would be the past. But the past also has enough energy to help you and support you in moving forward. And that is through looking at the positive things that happened, seeing what lessons we've taken, and definitely, no matter what the challenges were, we normally able to see the challenges and how tough things were. For example, for me, a lot happened to my business where I would do face-to-face training in corporates, and that was the kind of work I would do. Well, with COVID, complete standstill. So that was a door that closed. But what happened is there were other opportunities which opened up. It's not that those opportunities were not there before, they were even there in 2019. But I wasn't paying attention to it because I was so focused on doing what was there for me right then and there. So, what's been my greatest lesson? My greatest lesson is to, if you see certain opportunities, it's nice to explore them before time forces you to see those opportunities. And so I need to be more adaptable, more flexible. And that's what strengthened me is resilience, agility, nimbleness, speed of looking at something and saying, okay, move there. Not holding on to the past and saying, hey, no, but this has worked so many years for me. It has to continue working. No, let go. If you see something emerging, move in that direction. Understand it and become better at it. Start moving. And so it's all about that nimbleness of knowing how quickly I need to change. And so that thing has really started picking up in me, and I've strengthened that a lot over this year. So we've all got our lessons, and whatever the lessons may be, that's what we hold. And then we thank 2020 for us. And so let's just take a small moment, reflect, look back, and say, as I move forward in 2021, as I have the greatest wishes and the hopes for a fantastic year ahead of me, I look at the past with gratitude. To all those people who came in my life, to all those events that came in my life. Some I might understand, some I might not understand. But I know that there have been lessons for me. I know there have been strengthening for me. And so I'm grateful. And I take all those lessons. I take the strength and the power that I've got from every event that took place, knowing that no matter what a situation, nothing will come to me that I cannot manage. That's the law of the universe. If there is a situation that comes in front of me, it means that I have the capacity to face it. And when I face it, I become stronger and more powerful. And so with that lesson, I'm moving forward. Bye-bye 2020. Thank you 2020. And now, welcome 2021. And 2021 is the magical year. And how am I going to make it magical? This is what we have in store for us. What's the first thing we want to do when we want to move forward? What is the thing that we usually do on the 31st of December, 2020? We have our party, we enjoy ourselves, we wish farewell to 2020, and we say hi and welcome to 2021. But amongst all of this, there is a reflection. And that's what these events are for. Truly speaking, we perhaps have lost the main purpose of these beautiful events. The main purpose was to change, was to take stock of what happened, of what I need in the future, and then to see how do I get to that place. And so that's what the magic is for us, usually why we have these events. And so we're losing the magic when we just felt that it's an event which I'm supposed to enjoy myself, and that's it. So I just enjoy and forget things. And I don't have plans to do some things better this year, of improving this year, of capitalizing on the magic that the new beginning brings forth. And so, what we're going to do now is we're going to really bring that magic for ourselves. And the first aspect of that is to create a goal. If you don't know where you're going to go, you will never get there. Wherever you go, you'll think that's where I wanted to go. The best way to predict your future is to create it. And so when we look at our goal for 2021, we may miss some things. We may make it lopsided. It could be skewed. I might just have a goal in one area of my life and I could forget the rest. That's not good enough. The magic is in balance. The magic is in balance. If you are fantastic in one aspect and every other aspect of yours is suffering, that's not what you want to do in life. Because remember, it's very important to understand that as a potential that each and every one of us have within us, we can reach our perfect stage if we endeavor to, and if we can see that picture in front of us. We all can reach perfection. We all have a perfect stage of ours. And so I'm going to reveal to you 4 areas of life that all of us must work on, that we must hold as a goal in front of us, which is holistic, which covers everything possible to be somebody who's actually having everything. And that's what I call a holistic self. So you might have had a few, let's say, resolutions. And I don't know why we call them New Year resolutions. But basically, we're trying to keep goals in front of us, seeing what is it that I want to achieve. And you might have had a goal that is to do with your physical health. I want to be healthier. I want to be less heavier. I want to be smarter. I want to be fitter. Simple. I want to free myself from something that has been creating a physical ailment. You could have a physical, or you might have something to do with a more mindset. This is how I like to be. I want to get, myself to have a more calmer, composed mind. Or you might have something with a relationship. You want to get close to somebody. You want to have a better relationship with somebody. You want to establish certain relationships, whatever. You want to have something on relationships. Or you might have something to do with wealth. I want to be financially freer. I want to see how I can actually start rebuilding something that I missed out on. I want to build something more. You want to do something there. So I'm talking about a holistic goal, which includes all of these. And this holistic picture that I'm going to show you is all encompassing. There's nothing that you can lose out if you actually have a goal in these 4 areas. These are like the 4 legs of a table: your body, your mind, wealth, and relationships. It's like the BMW, body, mind, wealth, BMW R series, the R series of your BMW, relationships. So, as I'm talking about this, I'd like you to quickly think about a goal that you can have for your body. Physically, how would you like to look at yourself? And when I say physically, it means about a healthier person that you like to see yourself, more fitter. If you have that particular thing of not being too physically fit. If you're already physically fit, fantastic, healthy, great. But the problem will be is if I only have a physical goal and I've ignored my mind, I've ignored relationships, I've ignored. Imagine you've got the most beautiful body in terms of a health, in terms of fitness, and whatever you might call a physical body, which is great. But at a mental space, you are unwell. Wealth-wise, you are impoverished. Relationships are pretty tense, very tense, always tense. So then what's the point of just having a great body? It doesn't help you. Or you might have the best of minds, but you don't have a body to take care of that mind of yours. You don't have the comforts that you might require. You might not have good relationships. Or you might have good relationships, but then you have ignored other aspects of what your whole self. So it's important for us to take care of all four aspects, to have high aims. And so I just want you to think about body, mind, wealth, and relationship. These four areas are holistic, all encompassing. Now, let me just share with you, when I say body, that's pretty obvious. We all know about it. When I say mind, what am I talking about? If I want to have a goal of my mind, what is a great goal to keep of the mind? There are various types of thoughts that the mind creates: positive, negative, wasteful. One of the best things to have in the mind is freeing it from unnecessary, wasteful thinking, because they say that a person is happy if he's able to manage his mind, which means that they say happiness is a state of mind, peace is a state of mind. So, to a large extent, everything is in the mind. So, what is it that you want to keep in the mind? Free it from waste, free it from negativity, and infuse positivity in the mind. That's the great goal to have. Now, don't worry about how is it possible and whether it's going to happen or not. But first and foremost is important to understand what does it mean to have a holistic self in terms of a great picture for yourself, in terms of your mind. A mind that is clean, a mind that is quiet, which means clean and quiet means free from thoughts that are nagging you. Prakash, you're not good enough. Prakash, I don't think you can do this. Prakash, look at that person. He's got everything. You don't have anything. Prakash, look at this guy. He's such a useless guy. That person should not be doing that. So, negative thoughts about others, negative thoughts about yourself, useless. I don't want that. So, great mind, that's the sign of a healthy mind. It's positive, it's not holding anything useless for itself or for other people. Let's look at wealth. When you say wealth, what does that really mean? A very narrow way of looking at wealth is only money, the richness that we probably think about, financial freedom. That's a part which is important. But when you look at wealth, most important is the wealth of wisdom and knowledge. They say that if you have wisdom and knowledge, you can gain everything else. But if you lose wisdom and knowledge, whatever you have, you lose. So you need to have that right wisdom and knowledge, number one. Two, character. They say character lost, everything is lost. So we need to have a great character, a solid character in terms of wealth, the wealth of character. What else do we need in wealth? Your values, your virtues, and your powers. That's your wealth. So what are powers? So powers are able to protect you from, external environments that hit you. It's a very important wealth that we have, because you may have a lot of things inside, but if you're very weak and you're not able to protect yourself, it's no point. So you need to have the powers that protect you, right? So I have a fantastic mind, but I get very easily swayed when somebody says a few things about me, which means that you've not strengthened yourself with powers that are required inside. That's a wealth that you have. So, wealth of character, wealth of powers, wealth of wisdom, and the usual wealth that we understand. And finally, relationships. What do you mean by relationships? The goal of your relationships? Harmony in relationships. Relationships where I'm able to be there in a way which I can give and I can receive at the same time, and I enjoy that relationship, but I don't stop giving if I don't get. That I shouldn't do. And so it's not commerce, it's not commercial relationships. It's commercial relationships, giving and taking, but pure relationships, come in that relationship to see how I can be great in giving. Now, in relationships, remember, very important to establish relationship with yourself. The greater you are with yourself, the greater you are with others. Number two, relationship with the Supreme, a connection that you must forge, because that's the source, the Almighty of everything. And so if I have that source, that connection, I'm full. And when I'm full, every other relationship that I have in the world outside will be brilliant. Now, a holistic goal is truly body, mind, wealth, and relationships. And so I've just given you a fair picture, and you could really focus it in the way you'd like to have it. However, try not to miss out on any one of these, otherwise, it's lopsided. Having taken care of at least looking at these four areas, I'm going to give you a minute now to just think quickly. BMW: body, mind, wealth, and relationships. Where would I like to stand? Or where do I like to be? What is the best that I can look forward for in these four areas? And think of the best. When you're setting yourself a goal, don't aim low. They say one of the greatest problems with us is that we set our aims too low and we achieve them. Not that we set our aim too high and we don't reach them. So when you aim for perfection. Say aim for the stars. You might just reach somewhere else, but at least aim as high as you can. Nobody is going to put a gun in your head and say, "How can you have such an aim?" I remember one of the industrialists, a great industrialist, Azim Premji. He said, "Dream big. Dream so big that when somebody listens to your dream, they must laugh. If they don't laugh, it means you've not dreamt big enough." This part is very important because you're looking at the best that you can actually have for yourself. Whilst you're being practical, I'm not saying being impractical, but thinking about real, a perfect stage. And your perfection is there with you. We will talk about that at another time, but think about something fantastic. Okay? Take about half a minute now and think of four areas. What goals would you want to have? Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Now, here's a very, very important. There was a research that was done on top performers. All the top performers, whether it was in sports, whether it's in drama, whether it was performers in business. And there was a research that was taken in the 60s. What was common amongst all these performers? And what came was all these performers were visualizers. Top performers were visualizers, which means they set a goal for themselves and then they visualized those goals. They saw that goal, they felt that goal, and they experienced themselves achieving that goal. And so when they were able to do this, then the rest was simply a cakewalk for them to just go there and claim it now because they have already taken ownership of that goal. So we're going to do this right now. It's a beautiful exercise. It's reflective, it's powerful, it's engaging. But I just want you to just sit back, relax. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, do that. If you want to keep your eyes open, please keep it open. I want you to now think about your holistic self, holistic being that you are. And I want to think about your perfect self. Where would you like to be when it comes to the state of your body? Where would you like to be when it comes to the state of your mind? Where would you like to be when it comes to your state of wealth? And where would you like to be when it comes to your relationships? And once you know where you want to be, I'd like you to now see yourself in that place already. I want you to feel it right now. How does it feel to be complete, to be holistic, to be full? How does it feel to be where you want to be? And last but not the least, I want you to have that experience. So you may be sitting right now in front of your laptop, in front of your mobile. I want you to just experience that you are that already. Remove all questions, all doubts, all analysis, nothing. You just have to be right now. Feel the energy of that perfection in you, perfect body, a very clean and pure mind, abundance of wealth of all types, and harmonious, loving relationships. Experience that. Look at the relationships of your life with people that you usually are interacting with, and look at the brilliance and the beauty of a beautiful relationship with them. Okay, thank you. See, feel, and experience. See, feel, and experience. Now, quickly on that piece of paper with that pen that you have, I want you to just take note of what is it that comes, whatever comes to your mind from the experience that you just felt. Just want you to write that experience down. What are you experiencing? Just put a few words down. Just journal a little bit. Scribble. Automatic writing. Don't think too much. What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? Just write them. The magic is unfolding even as you're doing these steps. Have an open mind. Remember, the biggest obstacle is going to be yourself, nobody else. And you can be your best friend by just being open, accommodative to this whole process. Okay, so I'm seeing it, I'm feeling it, I'm experiencing it. Napoleon Hill said that anything the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So this is the conception. Seeing, feeling, experiencing is a conceiving, but believing is equally important. And many a times the part that we miss out is in the believing that I can be there. I can be there. So this is a pure self. When you look at the holistic self, it's pure, And sometimes we say, I'm impure. And that pure stage is it really possible to reach that stage of purity that I'm thinking about, where there's this purity of that mind, there's this flexibility of the body, there's this purity in relationships, there's purity in the wealth that I have. Yes, it's purity because I am impure, the way it's spelled, I-M-P-U-R-E, actually says I'm pure. I am pure. And so that's what I am. Impurity is nothing but a temporary movement away from your original core self. That's what impure is. But I'm pure. For some time, I've moved away and I've become impure. But the moment I can see my pure self, my perfect, complete self, and I can experience it, I feel it, and I can trust it. I believe it. I am there again. Of course, it demands a little bit more. You just don't become that automatically. But this is the first stage, is to see it and to believe it. There is another very important step to the magic, which I'm going to reveal to you. But no point in going forward unless you have been able to understand this step and you've been able to embrace it for yourself. All right, so I'm taking that you've seen this and there's you faith. You faith. Yes. There was this experiment that was done with Dr. Emile Quay, and he had people, he said, listen, he was a doctor and he would give them prescribed drugs, medicines. And I'm sure you've heard this, but I like to repeat it because that's important. When he would give them these medicines, and he started his experimenting of the power of the mind, and he said, listen, from here on, when you take these medicines, he would write a line below that. You just read this line every day, and in every way, I'm feeling better and better. He says, whenever you take a pill, please read this. Everybody who read it and who actually trusted it, they started doubling the recovery rates. But for those who did not bother about it, and they said, oh, forget it, what's the point? This is my medicines. Why should I read this line? Their recovery rate was the same. It did not work for them. Now, it worked for those who had trust. It didn't work for those who didn't have trust. So that's very important, that if you trust and believe in what you see and what you are able to look forward for yourself, you will get there, because that's a very important part. So now that we have seen, felt, and experienced, there needs to be a strategy. There needs to be a strategy. What is a strategy? The simple thing is that you aim for something. So I've got these 4 beautiful areas, which makes my life holistic. There is an aim. You must have an aim. What else you need? You need a methodology. How do I get there from where I am right now? I'm here. I need to go there. That's my aim. So I need a methodology to go to that place. A plan of action. That's all you need. That's what is a strategy, a plan of action. And when you do this, you cannot get to that place without some reflective rituals. You need discipline, you need rituals. And I'm going to share with you some rituals, no matter what your goal is, no matter where you want to achieve it. If you want it to be holistic, if you want a holistic goal, and I'm sure we all want a holistic life, and that's one big lesson that we learned in 2020, that we sometimes are probably too focused on just one area of life, and we realize that, oh no, that doesn't work for us anymore. We need to really work on other areas of life as well. So if you want to have a holistic life, you have to have some rituals. The first ritual is silence. You must build and develop silence in your everyday life. And I'm not talking about the silence of, times when there's no power, which probably barely happens in the Gulf, but sometimes the silence when you are all by yourself, just driving your car, maybe. I was talking about a silence where you consciously sit with yourself and you're not really doing anything else. That part was also important. So you are able to first sit back and bring in some deep silence, because in that silence, you're widening the capacity of your imagination. You're clarifying your aim to yourself far more. You're trusting that this can take place. That's the beauty and the brilliance, and that's why golden silence, we say. So we must build in silence. And what do you do in that silence? You reflect on your aim, you reflect on the self, you reflect on possibilities, because that's all there inside. Knowing that there is nothing inside me that is not possible for me to achieve. So that's what silence helps you to do. It gives you immense power, energy, everything that you need for you to move forward and to move onward. You must build in that ritual, number one. Number two, you must have a way to, let's say, check and change constantly, regularly. That's another ritual. I'm trying to move forward, and so I have to check myself and say, okay, have I done it or not? If I've not done it, okay, change. So I need to check and change on the way, on my journey. That should be a very regular thing. So these are 2 very important rituals that I would like to say. One is silence. 2 is keep checking and changing. I'm going in a certain direction. How am I doing so far? Check. And if you're not getting that, change. Yeah. Because remember, you're looking at mind, you're looking at relationships, you're looking at wealth of wisdom, wealth of character, wealth of powers. All of that will demand that you get more reflective. If you're looking at only something to do with the body, you may not want so much of it. If you're looking only for something at a physical wealth level problem, you probably can just do also without it. But even there, to a large extent, a lot of reflection is required. But this reflection is holistic reflection that you need for yourself. So in your strategy, you must build in these rituals for it to become possible for you. Okay, once you've done that reflection, you need to execute. A question that normally people ask. Normally, there's a question that people ask. You got five birds who are sitting on a tree. Three of them have decided to fly. How many birds are left? Five birds sitting on a fence. Three decided to fly. How many are left? The answer is five birds. Why? Because three birds decided to fly, they didn't fly. So your strategy, your planning, I'm going to take time for rituals, I'm going to reflect, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go and get feedback about myself, I'm going to join a gym, I'm going to start meditation, I'm going to start having daily interaction with some very positive people, all those things. Okay, great stuff, but that's just a plan. Nothing happens unless you take action. And so action is so critical. That's the part of execution. There, I'd like to share a few tips of, because many times that's where we fail. We're fantastic with strategizing and planning, but then the action, somehow we lose steam. We don't even start acting, or when we act, we kind of fall off the cliff sometimes. So what can we do with action? I share just three simple aspects of execution that will be great for you. Delay could result in death. You see, when you have a new beginning, it comes with amazing energy, huge enthusiasm, lots of zeal. You got to capitalize on that and then instantly jump into action. Of course, you've done your strategizing. We don't want you to jump into action without strategizing, but there must be a strategy. But once you have that strategy in place, jump into action. Don't over intellectualize, analyze, contemplate, because then you're going to lose it and the inertia is going to get you and you're not going to be able to move, right? So you've got to do the countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and boom, act. Yeah. So it's very important that you don't delay action. Two, version one is better than version none. So don't expect perfection. I mean, if I have to start something, if I've got to do this, then I need to be perfect. I need this to be done well. That has to be okay. I have to bring this in. I have to order for that. I have to get this. I have to get that. So I want this equipment. I want that equipment. So I want everything in place. Only then I'll start. No, start. Wherever you feel your best right now, obviously take care of the best that you can within the capacity you have right now and move forward, because you've so far done nothing. So something is better than nothing. Version one is better than version none. So go forth and do it. Get there. So, for example, for me, I want to do a little bit of, I want to have some more presence socially. On social media, I want to get some presence. So I've got to do some videos. Now, I'm not very good at videos and editing. And so I keep delaying, thinking I want the best video, I want the best edition. And so it takes me 6 months and I'm not going to send something out. Hey, so what am I waiting for? I should do it immediately. I must do the best that I can within the capacity that I have, but I must start moving it because it's my first version. It's okay. It's not the best, but I will improve. I get feedback and move forward. And last but not the least, when you're executing, you must measure progress. Measuring progress is important. If you don't have a measure, you can't manage. Only through measurement can we manage. So we need to manage our progress. So that's execution. So are you with me so far? The magic is being revealed. There's just one more aspect, a very important aspect, and I'm saying that's going to be a fun aspect. So we've done something fantastic so far. We've got a holistic goal in front of us. We've been able to see, feel it. We've got to visualize it, and then we've got a strategy and an action plan. Once you have this action and you actually started taking action, you started moving forward, and you're measuring progress, celebrate progress. You've got to start celebrating progress. What does that really mean? Don't wait till you reach the final ultimate result, then start celebrating. If you've done well a little bit, celebrate that. I committed that I'm going to stay in silence every single day. And so I've been silent for the first, second, third, fourth, fifth day. Wow, I've actually been able to maintain that. 20 minutes a day in the morning. I wake up a little earlier and I'm actually with myself and I'm actually contemplating and I'm thinking and I'm creating the best thoughts in my head, the best pictures, the best visions. That's what I'm doing every day. Congratulate yourself and have a small celebration of however you want to do. Because you have progressed, you have done much better. And then constantly continue on that journey. What happens, and this is a beautiful part, man is a creature of habits. Now, that's good news to us, and it's a bad news as well. We are creatures of habits, which means that very quickly we are able to create habits, but at the same time, our old habits make it quite difficult for me to create new habits. So it's a double whammy here. If I can do something for a period of time regularly, it becomes a habit. But if it's a habit and I stop doing that for a few days, I lose it and I go back into some ways which are not very beautiful for me. So watch yourself to see that if you want to have and create great habits, make it a ritual. That's why I call it a ritual. Make it a ritual. And that ritual means that you come hell or high tide, you must do it. So, for example, where I am right now, it's 11 p.m. By the time I go to sleep, it's going to be 12 midnight. But I have a ritual of waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Whatever the case may be, I will do that. All right. Which would mean that I have to sleep a little more after that. Perfectly, I will do that. I will somehow compensate or find a way. I'll kind of find myself to be a little bit more easy here. But it's a ritual. I've got to do it. So that's how you must be very strong about some rituals that you make in your life. With that, if you can celebrate and move forward, I think we are all set to just do a recap, unfold the magic, have the holistic goals, visualize them, have a strategy, which is a plan of action. Methodology is there with certain rituals, and then execute and finally celebrate progress. Don't wait for the last moment to celebrate. With that, we are all set for some questions and answers. Meanwhile, I'd like you to write a few things that came to your mind that's going to support you in those beautiful goals that you've had. We do have some time for meditation, but we can just take or probably let's do a meditation first. We'll do a meditation and then do Q&A. Is that okay? Yes, thank you. Just want you to sit back, ease yourself a little. When I say ease yourself a little, I mean physically just be comfortable, but intellectual, I want you to be alert, active. Your intellect should not grow lazy. Intellect should always be active and alert. What does that really mean? That means that you're strict. You're disciplined. And you're balancing them with being light. So I'm strict because there is possibility, there is opportunity, there is energy in newness. And we are so fortunate that now there is the start of the newness. We are at this threshold of newness right now. There's new beginnings unfolding. And so you're looking for the best for yourself. You're not compromising on your goals, on your dreams. You want the best for yourself because you know that you're capable. So you're picturing your perfect self. You're feeling it, you're seeing it, and you're experiencing it. You trust yourself, knowing that you will be there. Just a matter of a little time. You know that it's not going to be very easy unless you take action and you have the right methodology. And you also know that when you spend time with yourself every day in silence, in awareness of yourself, strengthening your connection with the Supreme, the Almighty, burning away all the vices and the waste that's stopping you from being there. And when you do that every day, nothing can stop you. And so fill your heart right now, fill your heart with conviction, faith, positivity, and absolute power. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
So, Brother Prakash, shall I say fantastic? Yes, really for opening up the avenue of the possibilities that eventually, as we go through and thread through life, we all have what we actually need. It's just the inspiration which we have sometimes to get from people. So they're fantastic here. So in the meantime, we can welcome some questions. So if you can just put it in the chat board. Both, we can also get the questions from the Arabic group. Let me check. I think it's all clear. So let me just check. Brother Prakash, if things as we move on along, so at the moment, things become so, so inspiring that we feel that kind of energy at the moment where, we have this. Somewhere along the line, we might go into the other route going to our destination, where it can happen that we can be loaded with, with frustrations and so on. How can I get back immediately?
Firstly, thanks for the question. Very important to know that each and every one of us are unique, and we have the solutions, we have the answers. Uh, and so it's important to turn within and to see what is it that is stopping me from getting what I want. And so if I can do that, which is why I mentioned about the importance of the silence time. If we take that those are the golden nuggets of the day. Imagine the time when you can actually create and produce gold is the silence time. So do not miss that out. That's where, in that silence, when you go inside and you start seeing what's happening, what do I really want, and why is it I'm actually not able to get there? What is it really that's taking away most of my time? But what is it I really want? And so then you will be able to see how you can course correct, and you'll have the energy and you'll have the answers for yourself. So the answer I can give you is not to lose those nuggets of gold. Use those nuggets of gold. Everything is there.
Thank you. So there would always be the nuggets just there. So let's move on to the next question. How to develop the habit of waking up very early for meditation? Because he mentioned that earlier. Yeah, I have a problem with that.
Yeah, yeah. It's not easy. It's not easy. And I think it's important for us to have the drive and motivation and motive, first of all, because human beings, I don't think there's any problem, an issue in action, in doing something. The problem is in our drive and motivation and the reason why we feel that we need to get it done. For example, if I would say that at 5 o'clock in the morning, when you wake up, you'll have dangling in front of you, let's say, mm, let's say a bag full of gold. A bag full of gold at 5 o'clock is what you'll have it there. All you have to do is sit for 10 minutes at 5 o'clock, be awake, and that's yours. Or I can say do it for 10 days and it's yours. 100% we'll do it if you're driven towards those gold coins. So I think it's important for us to understand value. And if I see value, then automatically I'll change my lifestyle. I'll have my dinner a little earlier. I'll sleep a little earlier. I'll make sure that I can do everything possible to wake up early. That's one aspect. Two, when you want to wake up early, it's nice to initially, okay, have probably a support, somebody else who can also wake up with you and say, okay, listen, I want to get up, and I'll call you up and you call me. We can come together and do some, reflection together. We can just sit and do some journaling together. So sometimes it's good to have that support system as well. Sometimes that accountability with somebody else also helps. I don't know, when I started first, I would, and this was a time we had no mobiles, we had no pagers. I would tell somebody that I'll pick you up in the morning at 3:40, and then we go to this place and we'll sit there at 4 o'clock. And so I had to do it because I commit myself with this person. He was waiting for me every day at 3:45, 3:50. If I don't reach there, the poor guy is going to just not know what to do. So I will be there on time. So that also helped me.
So yeah, let's move on to the next question. It says here, it was said to let go at the same time, coupled with learning from the lessons of the past. So when we do that, are we not letting go of the emotions with the baggage that could shed some light, letting go with past baggage? So the request is you could shed some light on this. Yeah.
Can you just repeat that? I didn't get the question really.
It was said, I think, yeah, I mentioned about to let go at the same time, coupled with learning from the lessons of the past. So when we do that, are we not letting go of the emotions with the past baggage? So he's asking you to shed light on this to further explain.
Ah, okay, fantastic. Yes, 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 of course. I mean, we don't need to carry the emotions. I don't see why we need to carry the emotions, which, when I look at emotions, we're looking at energy in motion, those things which were not very favorable to us. So we are letting go of the past. We are obviously leaving those emotions. And what we're carrying with us are the lessons. We need the lessons with us, and then we moving forward in that particular space. So we are not carrying the emotions with us forward as we move in this new direction. So, for example, for me, the lesson was to be more agile, to be quick and nimble, and not to hold on to something for too long when I see that things are changing, and for me to preempt certain things before they come. The emotion of the past would have been frustration and irritation, and I felt a little heavy. I don't carry that with me. That's why we leave the past behind. We leave the past behind because it's coupled with emotion. So that's why we let it go and we carry the lessons with us. In fact, if I don't take a lesson from the past, it's very difficult for me to let go of those emotions. So it's important for me to let go of the past, which means I take the lesson and I automatically let go of everything else. Okay, fine. I know it was a tough time. I knew there was challenge and that made me feel this, this, and the other. But hey, you know what happens with all those feelings? I learned these things and these lessons are invaluable. So thank you, gratitude. Finish the past now, gone with all those emotions, and I've taken the lessons with me.
Well said. So we have a question from the Arabic group. It says here, does silence mean silence of speech?
Yeah. Uh, this silence that I spoke about as a ritual definitely means silence of speech. We don't have to talk till such time that I can learn to be silent whilst I'm even speaking and doing actions, which is also a possibility. But that silence where there is nothing else but me with my contemplation, my visualizing, creating the best pictures, connecting with my true holistic self, my best self, connecting with the supreme. That's a silence that I need a space where I'm not talking, I'm not interacting, I'm not doing, I'm just being. And that's a very important part of the silence that I spoke about.
Okay, so the next question is over here. It is said that you can achieve your dreams, although you don't know how all the steps would lead you to it. But if it is not clear for risky, expensive investment, you might fail. So, is this true? Is it true? It said that you can achieve your
Okay.
dreams, although, yeah, okay.
True, true. So what you're saying is you don't know all the steps, and then it's a risky investment. You might fail. So yes, obviously, I think when the investment is risky, then it is very important for us to be more thorough in the steps, and we've got to sit down and start thinking about what is the methodology that I'm trying to get myself into. So we don't want to set up ourselves for failure. If you think it's going to be a failure because you don't know the steps and it's a risky investment, you might as not start. But if you know that you have thought through it, and you can't obviously be free from risk 100%, all right? But at least there's a certain portion where you've taken care of, and then there is a sense that yes, there is success at the end. I know that I'm going to go forward with all that I can do. I've done. I've not left a stone unturned. Please go forward then, but not haphazardly. So it's very important for us to think through it and have proper strategies before we go forward.
Okay, yeah. So we have three questions here for Brother Prakash to answer. We're past the time. How can I visualize my holistic self? Many irrelevant ideas, negative pictures, and less clearly are always coming. I think the
Yes.
vision is
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
clear
Yeah.
because, yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's very important to move beyond just the physical self. That's a good question. Thank you. Remember that behind this physical body that we are all spiritual beings. And when you look at yourself as that spiritual being, your vision of yourself changes completely. You're free from all those defects, those things that people have been speaking about, the tags, those labels, the hierarchies that we have seen in the society, everything is just based on this body. That's one identity, but the real identity of ourselves is the person, the being inside this body. And so it's so important for you to see yourself from that particular lens of who you truly are. And when you see yourself from that lens, then everything negative about those scenes that you see will finish off, because then you're in the core, and then you can actually start feeling the truth and the reality of your true picture. Because it's a fact that perfect self of yours, that holistic self of yours, is not a imagination, it's a truth. And so you will get to know that truth more when you're actually established yourself in the true self.
Yeah. So that's where the magic begins. Okay, next question. What can help us to enhance the confidence in ourselves and the results of our efforts to reach goals we want? What can, yeah, help us to
You,
enhance the confidence?
one of the reasons why we visualize, all performers, why do they visualize? Because when you start visualizing, you become even more confident. Uh, for example, just a simple, like when I go and do public speaking, earlier in those days when I would go on stage, before I go on stage, I'd visualize me going up on stage, starting me speaking, and looking at the huge audience in front of me, and all of them are pleased by listening to me. When I visualized that, then me going on stage and doing that became so easy. So that visualization makes you feel more confident, because the brain, they say, cannot differentiate what is real from what is imagination. So if you want to do something and you're not very confident, make your mind do it for you. Not one time, not two times, several times. Then you have the strong belief that, hey, I can do it. Your brain is now wired towards that particular thing. Then you just have to go and act.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. And the last question. In the four areas of the BMW R, it's the mind that's affected with any upheaval in the other three focus areas. But at the same time, is having a balanced mind necessarily benefits the other three areas?
Yes, it does. Definitely does. When you have a sound mind, there's this thing called psychosomatic connection. So there's this connection between the mind and the body as well. So the mind, which is calm and composed, will also help you have a more better functioning of the body and the organs. When you have a calm mind, you can also see how you can gain the best with in terms of the powers, the character that you want, the virtues that you want. It all comes when you actually start working on the mind. And that also affects relationships, because the mind is erratic. If the mind is fully disturbed, then even I'll see disturbance in my relationships. See a person's relationships and you'll see whether they relate well to themselves. So when you have a calm, composed, and a good mind that you're taking care of, which is very positive, then that's what will be what you go out and send in the world.
So yeah, well, we hoped that we could have more time. I'm sure there will be more of like questions or insights that come, but nevertheless, many also have expressed their appreciation for a fantastic presentation as usual and very inspiring. And in behalf of everyone, I really wish to express the appreciation for the gift that you have brought to each one of us. So the gift of that holistic self and really experimenting on this, I guess it would be really paving a way for a meaningful, magical New Year. And we don't have to wait for that, okay? As we move on along, this is where the magic comes actually in that experience. And of course, Brother Prakash is always there at a certain point, who would always have the good wishes that we move on along and join everyone in this journey. So, Brother Prakash, thank you so much. And hope that we see you sooner or later. Cecil, thank you for the nuggets that you have given us. No, somebody said that. Okay, the nuggets that you
Such a
have
pleasure.
given us to churn on. Yeah.
Such a pleasure.
Okay.
Such a
So, yeah.
pleasure. Thank you for everybody for participating and for being here. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Stay safe. And regards to everyone there. Yeah. Thank you so
Masalama.
much. Yeah.
Shukran.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone also for joining us. Thank you.